She said, "Don't touch me again." I just smiled and did it anyway. Part 1. First contact and the warning. The hum of the human starship horizon filled the large docking bay as Ethan Cole stepped out onto the smooth metal floor. He adjusted his jacket and looked around at the assembly of Velari ships that glimmered under the soft light. The Velari were known across the galaxy for their strict rules and powerful influence. Humanity had never had a real chance to meet them up close. Today that would change. Captain Lucas Brown walked beside Ethan, his face serious. "Remember, Ethan," he said quietly, "the Velari respect strength but not recklessness. Don't provoke them. You are the face of humanity here." Ethan nodded. He had prepared for months for this moment. He was calm, but inside he felt the weight of an entire species watching him. Beside him, scientist Claire Mason adjusted the data pad she held, her eyes scanning the ships and the alien architecture. Claire had been the lead researcher on Velari behavior and diplomacy. She knew more about their culture than anyone else in the human fleet. The doors ahead of them opened with a soft hiss, revealing a hall filled with Velari delegates. Tall, lithe figures moved with grace, their silver-gray skin glowing faintly. Each wore robes that shimmered in the light. At the center stood Lyra Vekra, the Velari commander assigned to oversee first contact. Her eyes were sharp and calculating. She stepped forward as Ethan and Lucas entered, her movements precise, deliberate. "Humans," Lyra said, her voice low but firm. "You stand in my chamber, respect our rules, and you may leave alive. Fail, and your kind will regret it." Ethan kept his expression neutral. He did not flinch. He had read that Velari judged fear and hesitation more than action. Showing confidence was a weapon, sometimes stronger than a gun. "We come in peace," Ethan said slowly, each word measured. "Humanity seeks knowledge and trade. We do not wish to harm your people." Lyra's lips curved slightly, emotion almost like a smile, though no warmth was there. She stepped closer, closing the distance. "Peace is not given freely. It must be earned, and humans must show submission to the stronger to be trusted." Before Ethan could respond, Lyra reached out suddenly and grabbed his arm. The touch was electric, not just a grip. It felt like pressure pushing into his mind. The Velari used touch as a form of control, a way to dominate species that lacked resistance. Ethan could feel it immediately, a cold force trying to bend him to make him obey. He stepped back and gently pulled free. "We respect your rules," he said calmly, "but we do not bow to force." The room went still. Murmurs spread among the Velari delegates. No human had ever resisted the touch in this way. Lucas placed a hand on Ethan's shoulder, giving him silent support. Claire watched closely, her mind racing to record every detail. This could change everything humans knew about Velari behavior. Lyra's eyes narrowed. "You will learn quickly," she said, releasing a faint pulse from her hand that spread over the floor. It was a warning, not lethal, but enough to make the humans understand that defiance came at a risk. Ethan did not move. He only smiled faintly, showing no fear. "We will learn from each other," Ethan said, "but we will not break our own rules to follow yours." The Velari delegates whispered to each other. Lyra looked around, realizing the humans' courage was unlike anything her people had seen. She stepped back, her fingers brushing the control panel at her side. The panel glowed, signaling the start of a demonstration. The Velari often used rituals to test new species, and this would be no different. "Follow me," Lyra commanded, moving toward a raised platform. Ethan, Lucas, and Claire walked behind her, careful with each step. The hall opened into a larger chamber filled with strange devices. Some hovered in the air, others glowed with unknown energy. Velari rituals often involved these tools, testing mind and body. Lyra stopped at a tall console. She gestured to Ethan. "Step forward, touch the stone, feel the weight of control." Ethan looked at the stone. It pulsed softly, a light moving beneath its surface. Touching it would trigger a neural connection. Humans were not naturally compatible with Velari neural systems, but the act itself carried a threat. Many species had fallen to its influence before. Ethan swallowed, but did not hesitate. He placed his hand on the stone. The chamber was silent. Then a soft hum filled the air. Energy passed through the stone, and Ethan felt a pull, a tug at his consciousness. He gritted his teeth. It was uncomfortable, but not painful. He focused, breathing slowly. The pull weakened as he refused to yield. The Velari gasped. No one had resisted fully before. Lucas stepped close, ready to intervene if needed. Claire took careful notes, her fingers flying across the data pad. The other humans held their ground, watching. Lyra's eyes widened. She withdrew her hand from the console. "Impossible," she whispered. "No species has endured the touch of control without submission." Ethan removed his hand slowly, keeping his eyes on hers. "We do not fear force," he said simply. "We respect strength, but we will not be ruled by it." A murmur ran through the Velari crowd. Some whispered in fear, others in awe. The message was clear. Humans were different. They had a will that could not be bent by touch or threat. Lyra's expression darkened, but she did not strike. There was a long moment of silence before she finally spoke. "Humans are strange," she said. "Your courage is dangerous. Know this, breaking our rules comes with consequences. One wrong step and it may cost your lives." Ethan nodded. "We understand the risk. We are willing to face it." The rest of the day was filled with careful discussion. Humans and Velari talked about trade, about knowledge, and about rules. Every touch was tested, every gesture observed. Ethan remained calm, smiling faintly when the Velari tried to assert dominance. Each time he showed the same confidence, the same refusal to submit. Claire whispered to Lucas at one point, "This could change everything. The Velari don't know how to handle humans. They expect fear, but they don't see it." Lucas nodded. "We have to be careful, but yes. This could work in our favor." By the end of the day, Ethan, Lucas, and Claire returned to the horizon. The Velari had not attacked, but the message was clear. Humanity was not easily controlled. Lyra watched them leave, her mind full of calculations. She had never seen a species that could resist so completely, and she did not know whether to admire it or fear it. Ethan stood on the deck of the horizon, looking out at the glowing stars. He felt the tension slowly fade, replaced with a quiet confidence. They had survived the first contact without giving an inch. Humanity had shown its strength, not through weapons or aggression, but through calm, unyielding resolve. Claire came to stand beside him. "You did well," she said. "The data alone will change our approach to the Velari. We might finally understand them." Ethan smiled, not out of pride, but because he felt the truth in the moment. Humans were different. They could face the strongest without bending. The galaxy had not seen the last of humanity, and perhaps, for the first time, the Velari knew that power was not always about domination. As the horizon moved away from the docking bay, Ethan looked forward, thinking of the days ahead. The real test was just beginning, but he felt ready. Humanity had made its mark, and the stars seemed a little less intimidating now. Part 2. The meaning of touch. The next morning, Ethan Cole and Claire Mason were in the horizon's research bay. The room was quiet except for the soft hum of machines. Sunlight from nearby stars spilled through the large windows. Ethan still thought about the previous day. The Velari's reaction had been unlike anything he had expected. "They are not just strong," Claire said, looking at her data pad. "Their touch, it is a form of control. It is more than physical. It affects the mind. It forces most species to obey." Ethan nodded. "I felt it. It tries to push your thoughts, your will, but it did not work on me." "Why?" Claire adjusted her glasses. "Humans evolved under constant danger. We learn to resist, to act even when fear is present. Our minds are more flexible in that sense. The Velari cannot dominate us the usual way." Ethan thought for a moment. "So it is not about strength. It is about fear and control. If we do not give in, they cannot win." "Exactly," Claire said, "but we need more evidence. If we understand it fully, we can prepare for the next encounter." Just then, Captain Lucas Brown entered the room. His face was serious as always. "I have news," he said. "The Velari are sending a delegation to meet us again today. They want to demonstrate another ritual. This time it will be more formal." Ethan frowned. "Another test," Lucas nodded. "They are cautious. Your resistance yesterday surprised them. They want to see if it was luck or skill." Claire tapped her data pad. "We should be ready. This will tell us a lot about their culture and their methods." Hours later, the human delegation arrived at the Velari meeting hall. The chamber was larger than yesterday, filled with devices that glowed softly. The Velari delegates were already present, waiting. Lyra Vekra stood at the center, her eyes fixed on Ethan as he entered. "Humans," she said, "you are bold. We will see if your courage lasts." Ethan stepped forward calmly. He did not flinch. He had learned that showing fear was more dangerous than action. Lucas and Claire followed closely. Lyra held up a hand, signaling the start of the ritual. Several Velari approached, each holding a glowing rod. The rods pulsed with energy, connected to the neural system of the chamber. The ritual was meant to overwhelm the mind of any outsider. One Velari extended a rod toward Ethan. "Touch," they said, their voice steady. "Feel the control." Ethan looked at the rod. He knew the consequences. He took a deep breath and placed his hand on it. The energy surged immediately. He felt the pull at his thoughts, a gentle but strong pressure trying to bend his will. His mind fought back, steadying each thought, focusing on the present. Lyra watched closely, her eyes narrowing. The humans had resisted before. Would they do it again? Ethan's grip on the rod tightened slightly. The pull became stronger, but he did not falter. Claire whispered to Lucas, "They are testing the limits. See how long he can hold it." The other humans watched silently. The chamber was tense. The Velari delegates exchanged glances, clearly confused. No species had resisted fully for this long. After several minutes, Ethan slowly removed his hand from the rod. He did not collapse or show weakness. Instead, he looked around the chamber and spoke. "We understand your method. It does not control us. Humans will respect boundaries, but we will not submit to fear." The chamber went silent. Murmurs spread quickly. Lyra's expression darkened. She stepped forward, her eyes locked on Ethan. "Impossible," she said softly. "No species can endure the ritual without yielding." Ethan smiled faintly. "We are not like the others. We do not fear the unknown. We face it and we adapt." The Velari delegates whispered to each other. Some looked anxious, others curious. Claire quickly recorded every observation. This data could change human strategy in dealing with the Velari forever. Lyra signaled for the ritual to end. The rods glowed one last time and then dimmed. She turned to Ethan. "You are unusual. Most would have broken in moments. You are stubborn." "We call it courage," Ethan replied simply. "Humans do not give in to force that is unfair." The rest of the meeting focused on communication and rules. Ethan explained human customs and limits. He emphasized that humans respect others' autonomy but would not bend to control. The Velari delegates listened, though some struggled to understand the difference. Later, Ethan and Claire returned to the horizon. Lucas was waiting. "You handled that well," he said. "They respect strength, but they also respect clarity. You showed both." Claire shook her head. "More than respect, they are confused. They have never faced a species that refuses to yield completely. They do not know how to respond." Ethan leaned back in his chair. "Then we need to prepare. This confusion could work in our favor, but it could also provoke them. We must be careful." That night, Ethan reviewed the day's events. He realized the significance of what had happened. Humans had shown that courage and willpower could be stronger than force. They had resisted an alien power that controlled entire species. Claire entered, carrying more data. "I think I found something," she said. "Their neural control responds differently depending on mental focus. If you resist, it weakens. If you hesitate, it strengthens. Humans naturally resist in ways they do not anticipate." Ethan nodded slowly. "So our minds are our strength. We can face them without weapons." Claire smiled. "Exactly, and now we know how to teach others. If the fleet understands this, we can interact safely with the Velari, maybe even gain an advantage." The next day, the Velari sent another message. They requested a private audience with Ethan alone. The humans debated whether to accept. Lucas finally said, "It is risky, but we need to understand them fully. Ethan, you must go." Ethan prepared. He knew the danger, but he also knew that refusing could escalate tensions. He stepped onto the Velari ship, feeling the familiar hum of power beneath his feet. Lyra greeted him silently, her expression unreadable. "You are bold," she said again, "but boldness can be punished." Ethan stood tall, or it can be understood. For hours, Lyra tested him with gestures, with touch, with rituals. Ethan remained calm. He did not react with fear, and the Velari energy failed to dominate him. Claire and Lucas observed remotely, noting every detail. Finally, Lyra stepped back. She seemed frustrated, but there was also a hint of respect in her eyes. "Humans are unpredictable. Your resistance is unlike anything we have seen. This will take time to understand." Ethan nodded. "Then we will give time. Humans do not rush to destroy what they do not understand. We learn first." When he returned to the horizon, Lucas greeted him with relief. "You did well. I did not think they would allow you to leave without incident." Ethan smiled faintly. "Sometimes strength is in the mind, not the weapon. We must show them that humans are different but not hostile. They will need to learn that before fear can work." Claire added, "And now we have proof. Humans can resist their control. Other species will see this, and it may change the balance of power." Ethan looked out at the stars. The galaxy was vast, full of dangers, but humanity had taken the first step in showing it would not be easily dominated. Their journey with the Velari was just beginning, but he felt ready. Humans were capable of more than survival. They were capable of respect, courage, and understanding, even when facing the strongest of enemies. Part 3. Escalation and Challenge. The horizon floated silently near the Velari star cluster. Ethan Cole stood on the observation deck, watching the glowing ships pass in the distance. The events of the last 2 days weighed on his mind. Humanity had shown strength without weapons, but the Velari were not creatures to forget a challenge easily. Captain Lucas Brown approached, his expression serious. "We have a message," he said. "The Velari Council has decided to send a formal delegation. They demand a demonstration of our intentions. They want to see if your resistance yesterday was just luck or if humans truly cannot be controlled." Ethan nodded. "We cannot show weakness. We need to prepare carefully. This is bigger than us now." Claire Mason joined them, holding her data pad. "I have studied their neural systems further. If we maintain focus and act as a unit, we can resist their rituals without harm. The key is coordination and confidence." Lucas looked out the window. "You have shown courage before. Now it is time to show them we are not just bold individuals. Humanity stands together." The delegation arrived the next day. A fleet of Velari ships surrounded the horizon. Aboard the lead ship, Lyra Vecra waited, flanked by other high-ranking Velari commanders. The humans prepared themselves. Ethan, Lucas, and Claire entered the chamber with measured steps, their minds focused and steady. "Humans," Lyra said, her voice firm, "your previous resistance is noted. Today, the Council will determine whether your species deserves recognition or punishment. You will submit to the rituals once more." Ethan stepped forward calmly. "We will cooperate where it is fair. We will not yield to force that harms our minds or bodies." Lyra's eyes narrowed. She raised a hand, signaling the start of the ritual. Glowing rods and neural devices activated around the chamber. The energy in the room shifted, pulsing and moving as the Velari tried to assert dominance. One by one, the Velari commanders reached toward Ethan. He stood his ground, placing his hand on the main control stone at the center of the chamber. Energy flowed through him immediately, stronger than before. It tugged at his thoughts, tried to bend his will. Lucas and Claire watched carefully, noting every reaction. The Velari had increased the intensity. Ethan's grip on the stone tightened. He focused on breathing, controlling his mind with every thought. The energy pressed, but it could not break him. "Incredible," Claire whispered. "He is holding it longer than anyone could have imagined. The energy, it is weakening as he resists." Lyra's expression darkened. She sent a pulse through the chamber, stronger than before, trying to overwhelm Ethan completely. Most species would collapse instantly under such force. Ethan's mind strained, but he held firm. He remembered the lessons from the previous days. Humans did not give in to fear. We adapted, we resisted, and we cooperated. He focused on the present, not the threat. Slowly, the pulsing energy began to weaken around him. The Velari were astonished. "How can this be?" Lyra whispered, her eyes wide. "No one should withstand this." Ethan spoke clearly, without anger or fear. "Humans do not fear force. We respect strength, but we will not be controlled by it. Your rituals cannot bend our will." Murmurs ran through the Velari chamber. Some commanders whispered to each other, others exchanged worried glances. Lyra looked at her fellow leaders, realizing the humans were different in a way they could not easily comprehend. Finally, Ethan removed his hand from the stone. The energy in the room faded. He did not stumble or collapse. Instead, he looked around, calm and steady. "This proves our point," he said simply. "Humans will face the unknown with courage. We will not submit to fear, but we will respect rules that are fair." Lyra's gaze softened slightly, though her eyes remained wary. "Your species is unpredictable. You refuse to bow to control, yet you show restraint. This is new." Claire stepped forward. "They will not harm us if we continue to act with focus and unity. Humans are stronger than you believe, not in weapons, but in will." The council convened shortly after. They discussed the humans' actions in private. Lyra spoke for the first time with honesty. "We expected fear and submission. Instead, we find resistance and calm. This will require reconsideration of our protocols." Outside the chamber, Ethan reflected on what had happened. Humanity had not only survived, but had changed the way the Velari saw them. They had demonstrated that courage and intelligence could outweigh raw power. Lucas approached him. You have done something remarkable. The Council cannot ignore this. Humans are no longer seen as weak. They are a force to consider even without weapons. Ethan nodded. We need to remain vigilant. The Velari are proud and careful. Some will respect our ways, but others may test us further. Claire added. We have the knowledge now. We understand their methods, and we can prepare the fleet. Humans are capable of resisting, and this will be the key in future encounters. Over the next few days, the Velari sent smaller teams to observe the horizon. Ethan continued to meet them, demonstrating human control and cooperation. Each meeting strengthened the humans' reputation. The Velari began to record data, analyzing humans in a way they never had before. Some young Velari were curious. They whispered among themselves, questioning why humans did not fear the rituals. Older commanders warned them, but curiosity spread. Humans had introduced a new concept to the Velari. The mind could be stronger than power. Ethan, Lucas, and Claire held strategy sessions on the horizon. We have a chance to show them a better way, Lucas said. If we can teach them that respect and cooperation are stronger than domination, it may prevent future conflict. Ethan looked out at the stars, thinking of the galaxy beyond the Velari. We are small now, but if humans continue to act with courage and clarity, we can change the balance, not through force but through understanding and will. The Velari Council finally requested a public demonstration. Ethan knew this was a critical moment. The entire fleet and delegates would watch. He would need to show the same calm and focus, but on a larger scale. When the day arrived, the chamber was filled with dozens of Velari delegates, each watching closely. The rituals began, energy flowing toward Ethan in waves. He stepped forward, placing his hand on the main stone. The energy surged, stronger than ever. Lucas and Claire observed remotely, monitoring the energy levels. Ethan's focus did not waver. The energy tried to press on his mind, but he remained calm, steady. The Velari delegates gasped. No human had withstood such intensity before. Ethan spoke aloud. We do not fear force. We respect strength, but we do not submit to control. Humans act with courage even when threatened, and we will not bend unjustly. The energy in the room began to weaken. The Velari were confused. Their rituals, meant to dominate, were failing. The young commanders watched with fascination, while the older ones exchanged worried glances. Finally, Ethan removed his hand. He was unshaken, composed, and confident. The room went silent. Lyra approached, her expression unreadable. Humans, you are remarkable. We have never seen this before, Ethan nodded. We are not remarkable for strength alone. We are remarkable because we face challenges without fear. We adapt, and we respect those who act fairly. The Velari Council recorded the demonstration. Their perspective of humanity had changed. Humans were no longer just another species. They were resilient, intelligent, and capable of resisting control in ways the Velari had never anticipated. Outside the chamber, Ethan turned to Lucas and Claire. This is only the beginning. We have shown them our strength, but now we must teach them restraint and cooperation. That is how humans thrive. Lucas nodded. And if they test us further, we are ready. Humanity has proven it will not be controlled by fear. Claire smiled. And that knowledge will guide the fleet. The galaxy is full of dangers, but humans can face them. Today, we have taken the first real step in showing that our mind is our greatest weapon. Ethan looked out at the stars. He felt calm, confident, and ready for whatever came next. The Velari had learned something new about humanity. We are not easily dominated. And the galaxy would remember that fact. Part 4. The human answer, the horizon drifted quietly through the Velari star cluster. Ethan Cole stood on the observation deck, watching the light from distant stars reflect on the surface of the nearby Velari ships. The council had been silent for hours, deliberating on humanity's unusual behavior. Ethan knew the Velari were struggling to understand how a species could resist their control so completely. Captain Lucas Brown joined him. They are confused, he said. Some of their leaders want to punish us, others want to learn. This is an opportunity, but it is risky. We cannot give them a reason to act violently, Ethan nodded. Then we show them how humans act when faced with danger. We do not react with violence, but with intelligence and cooperation. Claire Mason arrived with her data pad. I have analyzed their neural systems further, she said. They rely on fear and submission to maintain control. If we respond calmly, we can neutralize their methods entirely. Humans have an advantage they do not expect. Lucas looked at Ethan. Then we lead by example. Show them what humanity truly is. The next meeting with the Velari Council was tense. The chamber was filled with high-ranking delegates, their glowing robes and silver-gray skin creating an intimidating sight. Lyra Vekra stood at the center, her eyes fixed on Ethan. She spoke first. "Humans," she said, "your resistance continues. Our rituals are failing and our council is divided. Explain why you do not fear us, why you do not yield." Ethan stepped forward, calm and steady. "We do not fear force because we have faced danger for centuries. We have survived challenges that would break other species. Our minds and our will are our strength. We respect rules, but we do not obey through fear." A murmur ran through the Velari delegates. Some were impressed, others skeptical. Lyra gestured to the chamber. Glowing devices activated, trying once more to test Ethan. Energy flowed toward him in waves, but he stood firm. Claire whispered to Lucas, "He is not just resisting, he is teaching them. Every calm action shows them that humans act with courage, not aggression." Lucas nodded. "And that is the lesson they need to learn. Respect and cooperation are stronger than domination." The council watched closely as Ethan continued. He spoke of human history, how humanity had survived natural disasters, conflicts, and dangers across the stars. He emphasized that humans valued life and understanding, even when facing threats. Lyra stepped forward. "You speak of cooperation, yet you defy our rituals. Why should we trust you?" Ethan smiled faintly. "We do not defy out of disrespect. We act with principles. Humans respect boundaries, but we cannot accept control through fear. If you wish to understand humans, observe our actions, not just our words." The Velari Council deliberated privately for hours. Delegates argued over what they had witnessed. The young commanders were curious, asking why humans did not collapse under the rituals. The older leaders warned that humans were dangerous because they did not act like other species. Finally, the council returned. Lyra spoke. "Humans, your actions are unusual. Your species does not respond as expected. We cannot dominate you, and yet you do not seek to harm us. This is remarkable." Ethan nodded. "We have no desire for conflict. We wish to understand and be understood. Humans survive by cooperation, not domination. We can teach this to others, even to you, if you are willing to learn." Some of the Velari younger leaders whispered among themselves. They were intrigued. Humans had shown that strength was not only in power, but in mind and courage. This was a new perspective for their species. Lyra's expression softened slightly. "Your demonstration has forced us to reconsider our methods. Our rituals were designed to control and dominate, but humans cannot be controlled, and perhaps there is a better way." Claire stepped forward. "The better way is understanding. Humans respect those who act fairly. We respond with courage and intelligence, not fear. This can be a model for interaction across the galaxy." The council debated further, some still skeptical, but many were convinced. The Velari began to see that humans could not be ruled through intimidation. They had to earn respect, and humans offered it in return. Ethan, Lucas, and Claire returned to the horizon. The crew awaited news. Ethan addressed them. "We have made progress. The Velari are beginning to understand that humans cannot be controlled through fear. Our next step is to show them how cooperation works without conflict." Lucas added, "This is dangerous. Some of the council still distrust us. We must remain vigilant. But we also have a chance to change how they see humanity, and perhaps how they govern themselves." Claire smiled. "I am recording everything. The data will help us teach future fleets how to interact with other species safely and wisely. Humans have a unique advantage, our courage and understanding." Days passed, and the Velari began sending smaller groups to observe the horizon. Ethan continued to demonstrate calm, intelligent resistance and cooperation. Each encounter reinforced humanity's reputation. Some young Velari became curious and approached Ethan to ask questions. They wanted to understand why humans did not fear the rituals. Ethan answered patiently, explaining human principles of courage, respect, and intelligence. Lyra watched these interactions silently. She had begun to appreciate the humans' methods, though she still held caution. "They are not like any other species," she said quietly to herself. "They may change the rules of power entirely." Ethan met with Lucas and Claire to plan the next steps. "We have the opportunity to influence them positively," he said. We can show that cooperation, courage, and respect are stronger than domination, but we must be careful. Not all Velari will accept this. Lucas agreed. We will continue to act with focus and clarity. Humanity has proven its strength, now we must show its wisdom. Claire added, the younger leaders are already learning. If we guide them carefully, they may help change the future of the Velari Empire. Another week passed. The Velari Council requested a joint demonstration. The chamber was filled with delegates, their energy systems ready to test the humans again. Ethan stepped forward calmly. He did not fear the energy that pulsed toward him. He focused on his breathing, steadying his mind and projecting confidence. The energy surged toward him, stronger than before. The Velari expected resistance to fail, but Ethan did not falter. His hand rested on the main stone, absorbing the energy without fear or hesitation. He remained calm, showing the council that humans acted with courage and intelligence, not fear. The council gasped. The young leaders whispered to each other, impressed by the humans' ability to remain calm under such pressure. The older leaders were shocked and began to reconsider their rules. Finally, Ethan removed his hand. The energy in the room faded. He looked at the council. Humans respect strength, but we will not yield to control through fear. We act with courage, intelligence, and cooperation. If the Velari wish to interact with us, they must meet us with respect, not domination. Lyra nodded slowly. Your message is clear. Humans are not easily controlled, yet they offer respect. This is new. We must consider how to proceed. The council agreed to change some protocols, allowing humans to interact with the Velari without being subjected to rituals that attempted to dominate them. This was a major step. The younger Velari were fascinated, and some older leaders reluctantly accepted the new perspective. Ethan, Lucas, and Claire returned to the horizon. The crew celebrated quietly. Humanity had not only survived, but had influenced the Velari to reconsider their methods. They had shown that courage, intelligence, and cooperation could overcome domination. Ethan looked out at the stars. The galaxy was vast and dangerous, but humans had proven they could face challenges without fear. They could act with wisdom, and their actions could inspire others, even the strongest alien empire. Lucas put a hand on Ethan's shoulder. We have done more than survive. We have changed how the Velari see us. This is only the beginning, but it is a strong start. Claire smiled. And we have recorded everything. Future humans will know how to deal with the Velari. We can teach them courage, focus, and respect. These are our greatest weapons. Ethan nodded. And one day, perhaps, the galaxy will remember humanity not just for strength, but for intelligence, courage, and the way we face the unknown. Part 5. A new rule of the stars, the horizon floated quietly in the calm of space. Ethan Cole stood on the observation deck, staring at the distant stars. The last several weeks had been intense. Humanity had faced the Velari, resisted their rituals, and shown courage and intelligence that even the Council could not ignore. Captain Lucas Brown joined him. The Council has made its decision, he said. They are rewriting the first contact protocols. Humans will no longer be subjected to forced rituals or attempts to dominate them. This is historic. Ethan nodded slowly. It is more than historic. It is a change in understanding. The Velari are realizing that power is not just about control. It is about respect. Claire Mason entered, holding her data pad. I have recorded everything. The results will be invaluable. Not just for humans dealing with Velari, but for interactions with other species in the future. Courage, intelligence, and cooperation, these are now recognized as forms of strength. Ethan smiled faintly. We have shown them a different way. The galaxy may take longer to accept it, but the seed is planted. The next day, the Velari Council convened for a public announcement. Delegates filled the chamber, their eyes on Ethan and the human representatives. Lyra Vecra stepped forward. She addressed the assembly. The humans have demonstrated that strength does not come only from control. They act with courage, intelligence, and respect. Our rituals and rules must adapt. No species shall be dominated through fear, and humans shall be treated with the consideration their actions deserve. A murmur of surprise ran through the chamber. Some delegates whispered excitedly, impressed by the humans' influence. Others were skeptical, but the message was clear. Humans had changed the rules of engagement through their actions alone. Ethan stepped forward. We do not seek dominance. We do not wish to harm. Humans act with respect, but we will not yield to intimidation or force. If the Veleri wish to cooperate, they must meet us as equals. The council nodded. This was unprecedented. The Veleri had never encountered a species that could resist so completely without violence. Young leaders looked at Ethan with curiosity and admiration, realizing that humanity's methods offered a new path for interaction across the galaxy. Outside the chamber, Lucas spoke quietly to Ethan. "You have done something remarkable. Humans have earned not just respect, but understanding. The galaxy will remember this moment," Claire added, "and the younger Veleri are already asking questions. They want to know why humans do not fear rituals. We have shown them a new model, cooperation and courage over domination." Over the following weeks, humans continued to meet with Veleri delegations. Each encounter reinforced the lessons learned. Humans acted calmly, intelligently, and respectfully. They faced the strongest rituals without fear, and the Veleri slowly adjusted their behavior. Ethan led discussions on cooperation, emphasizing the importance of respect, courage, and focus. He spoke of humanity's history, how humans had survived natural disasters, conflicts, and challenges that tested their minds as much as their bodies. The younger Veleri listened carefully. They began to understand that domination was not the only path to strength. Some older delegates were skeptical, but even they could not deny the humans' influence. One day, Lyra approached Ethan privately. "You have changed much in a short time," she said. "Your people are unlike any we have encountered. Strength and courage without aggression, it is remarkable. Perhaps we have much to learn from you." Ethan nodded. "We can learn from each other. Humans do not fear challenges, but we respect life and intelligence. That is how we survive, and that is how we can cooperate." Lyra studied him for a moment. "Then we will follow your example. The Council will adjust its methods. Humans will be recognized as a species that cannot be dominated, but that offers respect in return. This is a new way." As weeks turned into months, the Veleri Empire slowly changed. First contact protocols were rewritten, ensuring that no species would be dominated through fear. Humans were invited to teach principles of courage, cooperation, and respect. The galaxy watched as a small but powerful influence spread, showing that strength could exist without intimidation. Ethan, Lucas, and Claire reflected on their journey aboard the Horizon. "We have done more than survive," Lucas said. "We have shown the Veleri and the galaxy that humans act differently. That is powerful in itself," Claire nodded. "Our data proves it. Humans can face threats without yielding. We can teach others how courage and intelligence can be stronger than fear." Ethan looked out at the stars. "This is only the beginning. Humanity will face many more challenges, but we are prepared. We have proven that our strength is not in weapons, but in will, courage, and understanding. That is something the galaxy must respect." The crew of the Horizon felt a quiet pride. They had faced one of the strongest empires and emerged not through violence, but through calm, intelligence, and courage. They had changed the rules of the stars. The younger Veleri continued to seek guidance from humans. They observed, learned, and began to question old ways. Some older delegates slowly accepted the new perspective, realizing that domination was not the only path to influence. Ethan, standing on the observation deck, reflected on the journey. Humans had started small, but their actions had created a ripple across the galaxy. Courage, intelligence, and respect had proven more powerful than fear. Lucas joined him quietly. "You smiled at the beginning of all this," he said, "and now look at the change you have inspired." The Council has altered its laws, young Veleri are learning, and humans are recognized for their principles. Ethan smiled faintly. "We did not act to impress or dominate. We acted as humans always do, facing challenges without fear, respecting life, and cooperating when possible. That is why it worked. The galaxy needed to see our way of strength." Claire approached with her data pad. "The record of this mission will last centuries. Humanity's actions will be a guide for future explorers. The lessons are clear. Courage, intelligence, and cooperation are stronger than domination." As the Horizon moved onward, leaving the Veleri cluster behind, Ethan knew this was a turning point. The galaxy would remember humanity not for its weapons, not for conquest, but for courage and intelligence. The actions of a few had changed the understanding of many. And in the records of galactic history, the humans, First encounter with the Velari would be remembered as the day a species refused to be dominated, smiled in the face of power, and quietly taught the strongest empire that true strength comes from courage, understanding, and respect. Ethan turned to Lucas and Claire. This is our story, but it is also the start of a greater journey. Humans will continue to face challenges, but we have proven one thing: the mind and the will are the greatest weapons of all. Lucas placed a hand on Ethan's shoulder. And we will continue to show that courage and respect can change the universe. Claire smiled. The galaxy is watching, and humanity has made its mark. The rules of the stars have shifted, not through war, but through action, intelligence, and courage. Ethan looked out at the endless stars. He knew that humanity's influence would continue to grow. The galaxy was vast, full of unknown dangers, but humans had proven they were ready. They had faced the strongest, changed the rules, and shown that true power lies in courage, intelligence, and understanding. The horizon sailed onward, carrying humanity's message across the stars. The Velari and other species would remember this day. The galaxy had learned something new. Strength without fear, courage without aggression, and respect without compromise were forces to be reckoned with. Ethan smiled quietly. Humans had not just survived, they had changed the galaxy forever.